Hello all, my name is Lucy and I love to heyday the day away. Today I want to talk about catching only the sockeye salmon. And that is because, and I'll tell you why you need the skill, because it is the largest fish aside from the red-tailed catfish, which is hard to catch, that you can catch with a worm. And if you can catch the largest fish that you can catch with the worm, then you can finish a fishing task in a lot less time. Fishing tasks can take 4 hours or less using this skill, compared to 6 to 8 hours not using this skill. It also usually takes 27 to 28 lures compared to 35 or more lures. That saves 9 hours minimum of lure making in your lure making machine. And anytime you can save time in heyday is a good thing. So let's talk about what I'm doing here. I'm dropping my lure, and as soon as I drop my lure, I'm going to try to pull it outside of the fishing hole. Pull it out. Oh, it's not coming out. That's because this is a sockeye salmon. The sockeye salmon feels like you're dragging the fish through mud. Let's talk through a few more examples. See this? I'm trying to pull it outside, and it willingly went outside of the circle. And it moved around pretty erratically. So I'm going to try another one here. I just let go of my finger and I dropped another lure. And try to pull it out immediately. Now see how it's not moving very easily? That's because this is a sockeye salmon. Drop another lure here. It just takes a little practice and knowing what to look for. That one moved pretty erratically, so I dropped it. Sometimes this hole can be kind of tricky. There's a few holes that are more difficult to get a sockeye salmon than others. Some of them are pretty easy. This one is one of the trickier ones. But still, it usually only takes 4 to 5 drops. And in the big picture, it really does save you a lot of time on a fishing task. So this one just comes right outside the circle, so I'm going to drop another lure. Come on, little fishy. Now this one is hard to pull. It's not moving around as much as the other ones, and I knew right away that it was a sockeye salmon. Once you get used to what it feels like to try to pull them outside of that circle and them not moving, it's really fairly easy to catch a salmon each time. This hole is one of the easier ones to catch a salmon in. First drop it was a salmon. And this one is usually pretty easy too. And see, it's not really moving, so I know it's a salmon. Sometimes this one can be tricky, but it's kind of a medium difficulty. Usually catch one fairly quick, but might have to drop 2 or 3 times. After jiggling around for a little bit, I decided I thought that it was probably not a salmon, so I dropped it. When in doubt, I drop the lure because I always want the salmon. As long as I can get to 55 pounds or more, because that's half of a fishing task, I can complete a fishing task in less than 4 hours. And sometimes I can complete it in 2.5 to 3 hours. But 4 hours or less is pretty fast for a fishing task. So let's just work our way through these last holes. And a lobster, we don't need no lobsters. Let's clear out some space here. And drop the lure. I don't like to use my colored lures for everyday fishing tasks. I can see that this one isn't really fighting me, so it's going to be a sockeye. I save my colored lures for events, the fishing events, and I love it when we have fishing events. And when we have one of those, I can do a video and show you how to always catch a large fish as well, so you don't ever catch the smaller fish on the event. So that was pretty erratic. Yeah, I think that one wasn't a salmon. It was kind of iffy, but I certainly didn't want to pull it in and find out it wasn't. No, I don't think that one is either. Nope, that's definitely not. When they go right outside the circle or they move around jerkily, nope. Then they are definitely not a salmon if they move erratically or easily. This one looks like a salmon. This one definitely looks like a salmon. Nope. Usually when you start, this one's a salmon. Usually when you just get the fish on the line, you think you want to keep it inside the circle and pull it in. But no, when you're trying to catch the salmon, the easiest way to figure out if it's a salmon or not is to try to pull it outside of the circle. Yep, that's a salmon. I actually never realized how many times I went around and around when I was fishing until I started watching this video. It's just kind of second nature to me now. Only 3 more holes left to fish, and the last 2 can be kind of tricky. That's definitely not one. See how quick he went outside that circle when I was pulling him around? The salmons are really lazy. They don't like to move. I think it's cool how they programmed this fish to move differently than the other fish. And if you just pay attention to the game, you can figure out those little variances of the game. And I would really love to hear how you guys use this skill and if it worked for you, if you were able to catch more salmon using this ability. So please leave a comment and let me know how it goes, or give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. That was definitely not a salmon. Now I have since completed this fishing task, and it took me 3 hours and 20 minutes and exactly 26 lures. So 4 less than 2 full rounds of fishing. And I think that that's a pretty good savings compared to some times before. It would take me close to 3 rounds of fishing to complete a fishing task. I knew that this was a skill that I wanted to share with you guys, so that way you could fish efficiently. Ha ha ha. So you could fish efficiently as well. Let's watch this last fish and see how this goes. Definitely not a sockeye. Drop another lure. And this one's looking good. So there it is, a full round of just salmon. You can do this too, with just a little practice. I wish somebody had told me about it sooner. So thanks for joining me, Lucy. And join me again next time so we can heyday the day away together.